What's going on, everybody? Welcome to Blind Power. It's been a minute, so I'm actually in Dallas, Texas now, and I got a place, and yeah, it's a pretty cool experience. Moving, going around the country, it's nice. So today I want to talk about a question that somebody asked me in relation to a video I made. The video is called "Why Smart Home Tech is Important for the Blind." That video, this person replied in the comment to this video with a pretty good question that I figured was worthy enough to make a video for. The question is, what suggestions would you have when designing an area where a larger population of those visiting are visually impaired and blind, in addition to smart home technology? Great question. Shout out to Morgan Hope, who asked this question. This question was so good that I decided to make a video on it. So, first of all, the public places and large amounts of blind visually impaired people. There's multiple things we can use. There's a modern way of doing it, and there's a old-fashioned way of doing it. So, the first thing I want to talk about is beacons. Beacons are a device that you place in an area. They do not rely on Wi-Fi or anything. They simply rely on Bluetooth. So if you have an app, for example, you have a custom company that makes a app for your place. So you ask people to download the app. They can walk around and the app will reply back with whatever it's programmed to do with a certain beacon. For example, there's a company that has beacons for restaurants, and when you pass by a restaurant, it'll tell you the restaurant and the menu and stuff. They went to the NFB convention. I don't remember the name of their brand, but they use beacons in a really cool way. There's beacons there's a lot of scenarios where people use beacons in the blind visually impaired community. So beacons use Bluetooth, and you could essentially download an app that is custom made for your location. And you walk around, the person walks around, and when in close proximity to a beacon, the phone will do whatever, it will say whatever it says near the beacon. For example, you're in an art museum and you get close to an art piece, and the beacon is in close proximity. It'll tell you what this art piece is about. I've seen it used in Disney. They'll give you little iPod things, and they have beacons in the rides, and when you get close to a ride, it'll tell you, this is what this ride does, and as the ride goes along, it'll go through the different beacons, and it'll tell you different parts of the story of what's going on in the ride. That was a pretty cool implementation. I got to see that last year, I think it was. Was it Disney or Universal? I don't remember. It was in Orlando, one of the two parks. They use beacons in a really cool way. I always get these devices because I want to see the tech that they're using. It's really cool. So you can use beacons, for example, in different manners. Restaurants, you can have it do menus. Shopping places, you can have beacons for certain things, but there's a limitation to beacons, right? The limitation is you have to be in a certain proximity, but the proximity is a little more wide, like 15 feet radius, right? That's about the average. Now there's something called near field communication, NFC. This is the other implementation, and it's actually way cheaper than beacons. It's just not as effective because you're not the person, blind visually impaired is not going to know to place their phone on a pad to get this, description. NFC, you have to have the phone placed near the tag. Near field communication is what NFC stands for. That's another implementation. You have to have some kind of way to notify them, hey, there's NFC. I don't know, some kind of voice or something, say NFC read available or something in Braille. I don't know, or notify them, but NFC is a really good implementation. It's very cheap. You can get, I got like a bag of tags, like 100 tags for like $10 from eBay. There's a lot of good affordable tags, and you can program them customly. You can have developers, or you can there's certain apps out there that allow you to take you to a certain URL, but that's not efficient. I recommend an app, just a custom app or a device. You can also outsource a device that just uses NFC, or if you use the phone of the people coming in, tell them to get the app and then use the NFC tags. It's a little bit more efficient. Beacons and NFC in combination is heavenly. you use both of them in combination, you have a great accessibility place. In a clothing store, you can have beacons in certain parts for men, women, children, whatever. And then when you get near there, you can have a little beacon that has in each aisle for like the shoe size or whatever. In each cabinet, so shoe size, and it'll tell you the shoe size through like an NFC, through their own custom app. That's my perfect implementation of using both NFC and beacons. But NFC is more cheap. You can get 100 tags for $10 versus beacons. You have to pay. I've seen them for like $70 just for like a little machine, but you have to program everything. Or you can make your own and get creative with a little computer called the Raspberry Pi and custom software. NFC is good, but there's some limitations, and there's limitations to beacons as well. They're both good depending on which implementation. Now, I've seen implementations used, for these things, and like Google Maps. Some malls will actually have beacons, but they're like proprietary to like maps or whatever, so that it tells you where a store is, and they use like indoor navigation. If you can do that, you can guide the blind, visually impaired people around the mall, for example. That uses beacons in indoor mall navigation. Some malls have it, and that's pretty cool to have. So that's the implementation of beacon. But enough about NFC and beacons. I want to talk to you about the budget form of doing this. This was done previously. This has been going on for the past 30-40 years. It's an old implementation, and it works. It's not my favorite. It's kind of boring, but you can have headphones and a little like device, and essentially you can just have them walk around with a little device, and as you walk by, you have like a number, and then you can go through. It'll have like an internal audio, and it'll say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and they have to match the number from whatever number 21, piece 21. You go to track 21. It's okay. It does the job. It's better than nothing. If you're gonna do something, at least do that. But if you want to do like really cool accessibility stuff, use NFC and beacons. Combine both of them, or if you have to, I would recommend like just using beacons at first if it's a large area, smaller area, NFC, but notify them about that there's NFC, because NFC is hard to detect. Sometimes you may not know that there's NFC. Medicine bottles have NFC. Did you know that? Yeah, I thought so. Nobody knows that. I knew that when I found out in the NFB conference that there's devices that are made to put they go on top of the bottle for the medication, and they tell you what the medication is. That's using NFC. It's a little chip that's on the top of the bottle, on the medicine bottles. Why they don't say this? Why is this not mentioned? Because it's used for internal purposes mainly. They don't think about accessibility usages for these NFC tags that are on the bottles. Yeah, it's kind of a shame that they don't publicly say this. So yeah, there's a lot of good implementations for those. But the headphones with the little device, I mean, maybe if like you're on a tight budget, you can get pretty cheap devices with headphones and do that. Now, these methods are for large environments. Now, you want to talk about like smart home appliances that are for people in the large areas, for example. My best advice, to be honest, like if you want to do like smart home appliances in areas where there's a large amount of blind, visually impaired people, for example, like motion sensors for like the lights, just try to automate as much as you can. That's the whole thing. Like if there's a door, like try to make things automated and try to make things talk, and have an app, and make sure people know that there's an app for your place, that kind of thing. That's kind of my take on public places and blind, visually impaired community. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I have a phone on the way that I want to show you guys. It's the best phone for the visually impaired. It's the Galaxy Fold. Yes, it's an amazing phone. I've been holding off to get it because I wanted to see if they would announce the Galaxy Fold 2 in Samsung's conference that happened on Tuesday, but no, they didn't. So I got the Galaxy Fold coming on the way. Stay tuned for that. I'm excited. It's the best phone for the visually impaired because of the fact that it's huge. The screen is huge. It opens up to a 7-inch display. It's awesome. So what the Galaxy Mega used to be, remember the Galaxy Mega? It was like an S4 but like 7 inches. Yeah, this is kind of going back to that form factor but foldable. So stay tuned. See you in the next video. Hit the subscribe button and remember to enable the notification bell to get all notifications of blind power uploads. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. Thanks for watching.